Hiya. A strange talk this time, but, well, time to put on your thinking hat. What I expect from PA as part of a soft reset. A what? A soft reset. This is where you do not discount the players of old, but revitalise the game for new players. A hard reset is where you end the current game and its player base and start with a new version of game. And a soft reset, it's the correct direction in today's world versus what may have been the preferred method 15 years ago. Rather than making a new version of the game well, from a player point of view, it's never good to end a game where you sell cosmetics, Q's trust is lost. Value and longevity of investment is damaged. And people may feel less willing next time. There is a cost to rebuilding trust and marketing ideas again. In a new version, well, you now have to convince people the game will last. But for how long? A? C? Never a good idea to worry your player base. Once the damage is done, it's there for good. In this day and age, the internet never forgets. And from a business point of view, data is king. Key to also point out the importance of an active database to the company. From gaining investment to sponsorship deals. Vroom vroom. It has more value than just the players playing the game, so you don't want to wipe that out. You don't want to wipe the database of players you have and rebuild from a new game. So a soft reset, what could it look like? And what could the preservation of the old content and old players' progression look like? Remember, this is me having a think. Nothing is official or guaranteed. There's always a chance I could be really off the mark here. Let's have a muse on the idea. Okay, So are we already seeing a soft reset appear? Well, old players have been brought up to similar levels of progression. The game has been cleaned up in many areas. This isn't just for the player, but will also help clean up the asset database, I would guess. Freeing up resources. What do I mean? Look at the item's traces for one. That was something like 5 types, and now it is 1. That means instead of 5 times the data for each player, it's now 1. That impacts storage and data traffic. It's good for us and good for them. Seems like a small gain? Well, imagine that data traffic and storage saved and multiply it by the player base, globally. Yeah, that small change soon becomes huge, and that's just one such change. It looks like there are preparations in place for new players and retention of said players, but I expect a change in that area, a rework of seasonals. Yeah, that's my big guess, and we will get to that. PA will have learnt a lot from the last influx of new players and their failure to retain most. Circumstances gave PA a huge research gift, and big name streamers gave their feedback too. PA took that on board. This has come in the form of items changes, item flooding, progression events and system changes. And well, we had a very strange Heidel ball that talked of distant content, what some may call a nothing burger. Sure, it may be PA listening, and I'm sure they are at this time, but it doesn't mean they aren't following a core direction, one they will have set up a while ago. So what we are seeing may only be part of the story. Not like the company going to tell us all their plans. Now, some will say that the new accessory changes are in response to PA listening to recent feedback, and sure, it will have shaped things, but not the core direction. They have spun the truth a little when they state such things. How can I be sure? Well, PA nearly talked of the new accessories at the ball but backed off. They stated they were going to talk about the accessories at the ball, but there was already enough content to talk about. This was a damage control statement after a leak. Something like that. I forget their exact statement on the leak issue. But a mistake happened and we got a look behind the curtain. The information on the concept had already been given to game journos, and well, one published it by mistake. Oops. That tells us B had this in mind even before the ball, all that time ago. Yeah. Kinda cruddy when you look at the reality and see the spin. But that's the real world, and I'm just pointing out how I'm come to my understandings. Don't hate on PA too much for doing this. It's part of the real world. But I'm here to tell you how it is and keep it real. So, what would we see? Well, it's all based around this new sovereign system. Let's explain. Okay, what I expect. Seasonal becomes something more like orientation for new players. Complete it and you're at or near sovereign levels, with materials for base accessories or outright given them. And a choice of 2 pen black stars, awakening and or main hand. Or maybe just a flat choice of a 1 sovereign weapon. Basically, if you do the orientation, you are at the progression of the soft reset. So what happens to old content? Now it's worthless, right? No. I would guess old content is worked into sideways progression, given what we have just heard about accessory crystals. Maybe in time we see old content pruned and cleaned up. Removal of worthless filler zones as they are no longer needed. Replaced with what? Who knows? Maybe different game aspects we can't even think about at this time. So, new content and orientation is vertical progression, and venturing back into old content for horizontal. Can't quite say that word. Let's call it sideways? Progression. Sideways is normally where you expand your options, but not necessarily your progression. This separation of old for sideways and new content for vertical progression may be becoming more apparent as we see the new content, including the proposed time travel into the past of BDO. Who knows? The new chapter may be the starting point for new players, learning about BDO time travel, and not even venturing into the old aspect of the games for years. If PA pull this off, they will show they have a long-living and adaptable game platform. Not just a game, but something that's staying around and worth building a community in. I guess this is rare. But not unseen. People still play some game that have been running decades, and what we have seen so far is very much in keeping with last year's prediction that PA would be pushing the social aspect of the game. From rule changes, music and dances for all, and so on. Well, yeah. That's my current thinking on the direction of BDO. Remember to like and sub and all that jazz. Especially if you're a content creator that find my insights, at least, thought-provoking. 'Cause, if I don't know they are any use, then why make? That means, if you are getting some topics and ideas from this for your own work, and I don't expect a shout-out, that's fine. But you are also not showing you liked the work, then you will lose it in time. How it be?
Got it going on, some say number one. Wonder years and then we call beers. Why? She calls out their fears. Sniff the grumpy Shai. Maybe choices on the fly. Say what you will, I mean no ill. Sorry if you can't take the truth pill. Imagine villain when I've done no ill and just been saying